Update 2.1 is here, boys and girls, and it's a massive update for a whole bunch of reasons, but particularly for someone like me who loves gameplay changes to the weapons and the gameplay mechanics. And today we're going to be looking at some weapons that had huge changes to them, namely the AKM, the SCAR-L, the AMR, the Bison. Anyway, we're going to get through it. I've done all the testing. I've tested all the rates of fires for all the weapons. And I've got the new bullet speed numbers for the AMR rifle, which is the brand new 50 cal sniper rifle. The M249 is still glitched, by the way. If you lie down with it, it's all good. The Pp19 Bison's rate of fire has been upped. The SCAR-L's got more damage. It's going to be a huge one. I want to thank the patrons, What the Hey, Steve, Brett, McDingling, and myself. We're all in a training room today, and that's how I got these numbers to give you guys. So if you want to join Patreon, it's patreon.com/thebushka. And if you would sub up and hit the notification bell, that'd help me. Firstly, the Pp19 Bison. The Pp19 Bison pre-patch was around every 0.089 seconds, and update 2.1 has taken it down to around every 0.079 seconds. In layman's terms, that's a 15% haircut on rate of fire, which is massive. And the time to kill is now, for a level 2 vest, is down to 0.304 seconds. No changes to the base damage, no changes to the recoil, just a straight haircut on rate of fire. And that means you've now got a gun that has a very reasonable time to kill, even though it's not top flight for an SMG, and 53 rounds. And it really has given the Bison a place in the meta. Even when you balk it like this, watch how long I can fire at this guy for. Just forever at 0.076 seconds. Now we move on to the AMR. This is the big donk, the most amazing gun to come to the game in forever. And it goes right through vehicles. You can see I'm firing into the front of the buggy, and it's going through the buggy and hitting Brett inside the buggy. Crazy thing though, it doesn't do much damage to the buggy when you are hitting an enemy inside it. But if it's slightly damaged, even slightly damaged, 2 rounds will wreck it. 3 rounds will wreck a full buggy. It also goes through vehicles into other vehicles. So if people are in a vehicle hiding behind another vehicle, you'll see I'm going to put 3 rounds into the UAZ. 1, 2, 3. Now we go and have a look at the UAZ and the bang bus behind it. Oh, what do you know? They're both on fire. That's pretty crazy. The new weapon is the most damaging weapon in the game, and it's also the fastest bullet speed in the game. Previously, that was held by the Mini 14 at 1,000 meters a second. The AWM is 937 meters a second. The AMR comes in at 1,200 meters a second. That's just huge. Like, it's a 20% buff on the Mini 14. And its base damage is the highest in game. The AWM's base damage is 156. The AMR's is 162.4. That means it hits a level 2 vest for 97. And as you can see there, it hits a level 3 vest, which it just cleared, for 73.08. It nearly killed me from 75 health in a level 3 vest. I hit every crate in the freaking game. Every crate. Like, for about 3 hours, I looted crate after crate. I got lots of chicken dinners. I got lots and lots of grasses and AWM footage. And I killed lots and lots of people at crates. But I got absolutely no AMRs. A lot of AWMs. And I hit, I mean, every crate, man. Even final circle, I'm going up and hitting those crates. And there was just none of them dropping. I think they're incredibly rare, and they're going to be very difficult to find. I think they may be like a replacement for an AWM. But given its abilities, it's going to be especially effective in squad games. Particularly when there's so many people in these late final circles because of the recoil that goes on very early in these games now on Miramar. The AMR is going to be incredible if you can get a hold of it. Now the SCAR-L. Let's talk about the SCAR-L. I tested the recoil. The recoil is actually ever so slightly better on the testing I did today. It was like 324 versus 328 recoil for horizontal recoil. And the vertical recoil was pretty much the same as well. There's been no change to the recoil. What's happened with the SCAR-L is it's gone from having 40.9 damage to having 42 flat damage, which means it's got 1.1 more damage. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you'd be wrong if you ignored that because it gets past the breakpoints. For instance, if you had a level 2 vest and you were fighting against a SCAR-L, an M416 takes 5 rounds at 24.5 damage to break a level 2 vest and kill you. The SCAR-L takes 4 rounds at 25.2 damage. So 24.5 for the M4, 25.2 for the SCAR-L. That means the SCAR-L can clear a level 2 vest in 1 less shot. Now, that means its time to kill into a level 2 vest is 0.282. Obviously, that's not always going to help you, having 1.1 more damage. But it sure isn't going to hurt you. And there will be plenty of opportunities where you die to someone and they have like 2 health left. If you're using a SCAR-L instead of an M4, they haven't got that 2 health left. You win the gunfight. That's huge. To me, the defining characteristic of a weapon is having an edge. And the SCAR-L now has an edge. I have not found anything to dissuade me from running SCAR-L over M4 today. I've been using it all day, and I think it's a better gun now than an M416. That's not a big call either, because I've tracked the numbers and I've looked at the recoil data, and the SCAR's recoil data is not very far off the M416's recoil data. It's all but the same. So if you're worried about running a SCAR-L, you shouldn't be, because it is a phenomenal gun that just got better. I also would like to point out that PUBG Mobile have kicked a huge goal by running this event on Miramar, where you can get recoils on Miramar. It's made the early gameplay of Miramar a lot more aggressive. It's made it a lot easier to get loot, and it encourages a lot more team play having a recoil on a classic map. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, onwards and upwards. There have been tiny minuscule bumps to the AKM and the Tommy guns base numbers. There have been no changes that I could find to the AKM's recoil. I tested it again for recoil. It came up a little bit better than the previous tests. Again, a little bit better, just like the SCAR-L, but you've got a certain margin of error there. So I wouldn't be holding my breath thinking it's got a huge increase in its recoil ability. What I would say with the AKM is more damage isn't worse. It's gone from 47.9 to 48 flat as a base damage. The Tommy gun has now gone from 41.9 all the way up to a whopping 43 base damage. So it's had a 1.1 base damage increase as well. And that's a big thing. It's certainly, in my opinion, made it more competitive. I tested the bullet speed. I couldn't find any bullet speed increase in the Tommy gun. That doesn't mean there isn't one. It just means that I'm going to have to run some more tests, because people are telling me that they're feeling like the Tommy gun's responding. It's a very hard gun to test bullet speed on because you can't put any scopes on it. So what you end up doing with the Tommy gun is using a red dot to test bullet speed. And it's a lot easier to test bullet speed on 6Xs because you can see the round hit 300 meters away and you can do your calculations on that. But the Tommy gun, that just doesn't work. Overall, this has been an incredibly positive patch. I love the fact that now there is a difference in the 5.56 ARs. It's only taken 5 years for the 5.56 ARs to finally get a change to one of them in rate of fire or bloody damage. For 5 years, it's been the same rate of fire, the same damage. The only difference being that when there was a 90 frames per second walk, you were able to get faster rates of fire at 90 frames per second. I love this SCAR-L, and I particularly love running it with Bolty. I think it's important that you understand that it's never going to be a Graza. It's never going to be a UMP. It doesn't dump damage like those weapons do, but it gets past breakpoints quicker than the M416 now, and that's all you need to know. It's going to help you. It would help me tremendously if you guys subscribe to the channel and hit follow, and if you shared the videos. These videos that I'm doing at the moment are real deep dive info videos that give you an edge on the competition. We've done all the recoil patterns for the ARs, but we've given you actual numbers for it. We've done all the grips. We've myth busted the grips. We've gone through and looked at the bugs. We've done just an absolute bucket load of stuff, whether the tac stock does anything or not, the M249 glitch on the reload and the recoil. It's really important stuff, I think, that needs to be in the game more. I love people enjoying their fluff, but I'm all about the meat and potatoes. So sub up, like the videos, tell your friends, eat your veggies, be nice to your mum, and download update 2.1. And until next time, like, how good is it having the ability to do this? Just everyone jumping everywhere, going absolutely ham. Parachutes coming in. This is a great patch, and it's a lot of fun. And the Scarab Recoil thing, where everyone gets an auto recoil, is a winner.